For days, the nation focused on the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie as a frightening mystery. An elderly woman vanishes, a quiet Tucson neighborhood shaken, a family pleading for answers. But 5 days after she disappeared, a single envelope shifted the narrative in a way no one expected. Delivered to the New York home of Savannah Guthrie, the unmarked package contained a faded photograph dated 1992. In it, Nancy stood arm in arm with a man her children did not recognize outside a cafe in Santa Fe, New Mexico. On the back, written in unfamiliar handwriting, were the words, "She deserved more than secrets. Ask about Elena." It wasn't a threat. It wasn't a ransom note. It was something quieter and somehow more destabilizing. It suggested that the woman they were desperately trying to bring home had been carrying a private world no one had seen. The Rock. Everyone thought they knew. For decades, Nancy had been the steady center of her family's universe. After her husband's sudden death in 1989, she raised 3 teenagers in Tucson with composure that bordered on heroic. Neighbors remembered her as dependable, deeply faithful, and almost stubbornly self-reliant. She worked part-time as a bookkeeper, volunteered at church, and built a home that felt like refuge in the desert foothills. Savannah often credited her mother publicly for shaping her resilience, describing Nancy as someone who faced hardship without complaint. To viewers of today, Nancy became the unseen pillar behind a national television figure. But as the photograph suggested, even pillars have hidden fractures. The image from Santa Fe hinted that Nancy's story did not end with widowhood and sacrifice. It continued quietly, somewhere beyond the desert horizon. A second life in Santa Fe. Investigators tracing the photograph uncovered the name Victor Ramirez, an 80-year-old gallery owner in Santa Fe. When agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation visited him, he reportedly confirmed a decades-long relationship with Nancy. According to his account, they met in 1991 during a church retreat in New Mexico. Both were widowed. Both were grieving. What began as companionship gradually deepened into a private partnership that lasted more than 30 years. Victor called her Elena, a nickname drawn from a novel they both loved. And in Santa Fe, she sometimes used that name. Under it, she helped manage his small art gallery, occasionally even contributing paintings of her own. It was not a life of glamour or scandal. It was quieter than that. Shared meals, gallery openings, long desert drives. But it was real. Why keep it secret? The hardest question for Nancy's children was not whether their mother deserved companionship. It was why she felt she had to hide it. According to Victor, she believed her family needed her to remain the devoted widow who never moved on. She worried that introducing a new relationship would disrupt their sense of stability, especially in the years immediately following their father's death. Over time, secrecy became routine. She visited Santa Fe under the explanation of church retreats or time with friends. Letters were handwritten. Finances remained modest and separate. There was no dramatic deception, no extravagant lifestyle, just careful compartmentalization. To her children, she remained Tucson Nancy, church volunteer, grandmother, steady voice on the phone offering advice. In Santa Fe, she allowed herself to be simply Elena, creative, unguarded, less defined by responsibility. The strain of 2 worlds. Living between identities eventually took a toll. In the 2000s, as her health challenges grew and Savannah's career expanded nationally, Nancy reportedly became more anxious about exposure. Victor described her fear that increased public attention might bring scrutiny to her private life. She worried someone might recognize her, connect the dots, or question unexplained absences. Still, She never chose one world over the other. She did not leave her family, nor did she sever ties in Santa Fe. Instead, she balanced both carefully, perhaps believing she was protecting everyone involved. Her children now grapple with the emotional complexity of that choice, understanding her longing for companionship while wrestling with the realization that such a significant part of her life remained unspoken. A new lens on the disappearance. The revelation of Nancy's relationship inevitably shifted investigative focus. Authorities are examining whether her private life connects in any way to her disappearance. That does not imply wrongdoing on her part or Victor's. It simply broadens the timeline and the circle of people who may have known her movements. Reports indicate investigators are reviewing travel, records, financial transfers, and communication history between Tucson and Santa Fe. They are also evaluating Nancy's recent statements to Victor that she felt watched or unsettled in the weeks before she vanished. Whether those concerns were grounded in reality or influenced by anxiety remains unclear. Law enforcement has not publicly confirmed any motive tied to her personal life, but the existence of the second identity adds layers that cannot be ignored. A family reeling in private. For Savannah and her siblings, the emotional weight is immense. They are searching for their mother, while simultaneously processing a version of her they never fully knew. In a brief public statement, the family acknowledged learning new information, but emphasized that their focus remains on bringing Nancy home safely. That dual reality, fear for her life and re-examination of her legacy, creates a complicated grief even before outcomes are known. It is possible to feel hurt by secrecy and still honor the humanity behind it. Nancy was not living a life of crime or betrayal. She was living a life of compartmentalized love. Whether that secrecy played any role in her disappearance is still unknown. What remains clear is that the search continues, and the hope that she will return safely has not faded.